Hello, Modern here. In today's video I'll be sharing my Bloodletter Barbarian build in Baldur's Gate 3 that multiclasses into a fighter to hit enemies really hard. Well, that's about it. This build doesn't have fancy spells, incredible utility or complex mechanics. We are just here to kick ass and chew goblin heads. Supporting characters that provide haste are your best friend. Hold Monster and Hold Creature are both incredible spells to take advantage of. So I highly recommend to include spellcasters in your party to increase the performance of your frontline. But once that's taken care of, you are free to unleash fury upon your foes with devastating barrages of attacks in single target and multi-target scenarios. Wild-Heart Barbarians gain access to the Tiger aspect, which allows the use of a strong AoE attack that guarantees bleeds on enemies. This can further be taken advantage of with synergies based around Constitution saving throws and just better damage overall through the use of damage riders, which translates to immense damage. But the truly best thing about this one is the mobility, which is enhanced by the Tiger aspect, giving you 4.5 meters additional jump distance. You basically have permanent fly. With the introduction of the build out of the way, let's have a look at the starting ability score as well as level progression. As for the ability score, we are going with 16 strength, 14 dexterity, 16 constitution, 8 intelligence, 12 wisdom and 8 charisma. If you have the hack here, you can drop your wisdom to 10 and increase your strength to 17, guaranteeing 18 strength without an ability score improvement. If you want to play with elixirs or fill giant strength or just increase strength, you can drop your strength completely, increase your constitution instead, get your dexterity to 16, even out your charisma and push your wisdom to 14. This will improve your saving throws immensely, but for the purpose of this video I'm going with the 16 lineup. For the skill proficiencies, go for athletics, perception and survival. And for the race, you can pick whatever you want. I personally prefer Karlach, but a gnome is also fine. The first 6 levels go into the Barbarian. We get reckless attacks at level 2, as well as danger sense. We have advantage on dexterity saving throws against traps, spells and surfaces. Reckless attacks provide us with the same benefit as Risky Ring. We get advantage on our attacks and get disadvantage on basically every saving throw. At level 3 we get access to the Wild-Heart subclass. This gives us the spell Speak with Animals. You can use this one as a ritual spell, so cast this one after a long rest to speak with animals and you don't ever need to worry about spell slots. For the beast start we are going with Tiger. When we are raging we get an increase to our jump distance by 4.5 meters. And we also get the Tiger Bloodlust, a cone-like ability in front of us. It's basically cleave. Every enemy hit by this one gets the bleed status. And the damage, at least partially, is halved. Stuff like the Malefic Extraction Ring, as well as Great Weapon Mastery, and the Rage Strength bonus do not get halved. So Tiger's Bloodlust is actually not that much of a damage loss, even in single target situations. And Bleed provides us with additional slashing damage each turn. Enemies also have disadvantage on Constitution saving throws. For the feat we go with Great Weapon Mastery. All our attack rolls now have a 5 attack roll penalty, but also deal 10 flat damage additionally. You can turn this one off and on depending on the attack, so if you're fighting, early on especially, versus enemies with high AC, you want to turn off Great Weapon Mastery. If you're fighting low AC enemies or enemies that are affected by Hold Person, you want to turn this one on. A critical hit or killing a target with a melee attack will allow you to make an additional attack with your bonus action. At level 5 we get an extra attack as well as faster movement, as long as we are not wearing heavy armor. We can rage and move faster despite wearing medium armor. Level 6 is going to be the last Barbarian level. We get an additional aspect which we again use to pick the Tiger. The Tiger provides us with an additional bonus to our attack rolls against bleeding enemies or poison targets. We also gain proficiency in survival. The modifier here helps offset the Great Weapon Mastery. Another possibility is the Wolverine. Attacking a bleeding or poisoned enemy will maim them for 1 turn. This decreases their movement speed to 0 and they have disadvantage on dexterity saving throws. However, Tiger is the superior option here. At level 7 we are going to multiclass into fighter and pick 6 levels here. The first level will provide us with a heal with Second Wind. This one uses a bonus action. And for the fighting style we have 2 options. Defense gives us 1 armor class. And Great Weapon Fighting rerolls the dice that roll a 1 or 2 on the damage, as long as we are using a 2-handed melee weapon. For the purpose of maximizing damage, since we are using a greatsword, we are going to pick the Great Weapon Fighting. For the purpose to maximize damage, we are going with the Great Weapon Fighting. But if you want to feel safer, defense is also an option. At level 8 we pick another level in fighter. This time we get Action Surge. Action Surge regenerates on a short rest. So per short rest we can use another action which results in 2 additional attacks. At this level we hopefully also have a very potent mage that can cast hold person or hold creature to make sure we are guaranteed critical strikes. This will result in some insane damage. Remember, a critical strike will also allow for a bonus action that basically deals a regular attack. So this would lead to a 5 attack burst round. At level 3 we get a subclass. The choices here are Battlemaster or Champion. Champion improves your critical strike chance. We could potentially stack critical strikes, but I found the Battlemaster to just be superior. For the maneuvers we are going with Riposte, which gives us a strong reaction that deals a powerful blow with an additional 1d8 damage. We pick Disarming Attack to provide us with an attack to disarm targets. And we can also use Precision Attack to spend 1 superiority dice to increase our hit chance by 1d8. Now instead of this one we can also use Trip Attack, an attack that possibly knocks targets prone. It deals another 1d8 damage. However, there is a limit to this. Targets need to be large or smaller. At level 4 we get another feat. This will allow us to increase our strength score to 18. If you pick the hack here, you're going to have 20 strength. And if you're going for elixirs or the hill giant gauntlets, you're going to spend those points into constitution. At level 5 we get an extra attack that doesn't stack with the previously obtained in the Barbarian tree. So we basically only get a little bit more health. At level 12 we get another feat because we're going to pick another level in Fighter. Now the conclusion would be to increase the strength score to 20. However, at this point we're going to respec the entire character, grab Athlete with the hack hair stat lineup to increase our strength to 19, at which point we can use the Athlete to increase our strength to 20. This means at level 12, again, we're going to respec with the hack hair lineup. We're going to start with 17 strength, increase it 1 time with Athlete, increase it another time with the ability score improvement to 20. Later on you can dump your strength and use specific elixirs, like for example the elixir of Hill Giant Strength, which can be bought in the first act. Or you can use the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength to increase the strength to 23. You can also find in Act 3 elixirs that provide you with 27 strength. Those can be bought in Rivington, in the Circus, at the Gravedigger, and the stock restocks after specific events in the game, like for example a level up. So you're going to be severely limited by the amount of elixirs, so I personally do not advise it to go with this, especially when you're going to use casters. As for the Gauntlets of the Hill Giant Strength, those are obtained very late in the game. So for the last like 10% of the game you can use the stat lineup with 8 strength and use the Gauntlets of Hill Giant Strength. Otherwise, go for Legacy of the Masters. Those can be bought at the Forge of Nine in Act 3, Lower Baldur's Gate, at this vendor here. That's Damon. If you have killed this one previously, you're not going to be able to obtain those gauntlets. Other options are the Gloves of Dexterity. Increases your dexterity to 18 and provides you with another attack. This attack increases your attack hit chance. Another pair of really good gloves are the Flawed Helldust Gloves or the Helldust Gloves. Those provide you with a 1d4 or 1d6 fire damage, as long as you're wearing a weapon. This one is a damage rider, and when we are going to use our Tiger's Bloodlust, we are going to add the 1d6 or 1d4 fire damage instead of halving that. Next, what to use for armor. The Adamantine Scale Mail can be obtained in Act 1 in the Grimforge, so make sure to grab the Scale Mail. However, if you're going to use the Dexterity Gloves, which are obtained in the Crash Yelek at the Quartermaster, you're going to want the Armor of Agility. This has 17 armor class and doesn't cap the dexterity, so you can obtain 21 AC with just this breastplate. You can find this at the Stormshore Armory at this vendor right where the O is. The next item I want to talk about is the Deadshot Bow. This one increases your crit chance by 1 and it doubles your proficiency bonus for range attacks with this weapon unless you have disadvantage. You can find this bow at the Stormshore Armory right at this vendor. At Demon you can also find the Boots of Persistence. Those give you freedom of movement and long strider, increasing your mobility immensely. Freedom of movement allows your movement speed to not be reduced by difficult terrain, spells or magical effects. You cannot be paralyzed or restrained. Those are incredibly busted. If you do not have Daemon and cannot obtain those boots, you can use the Ring of Free action, which provides you with freedom of movement. This ring can be found in Act 2 in the Moonrise Tower at the Alchemy vendor. This is the same vendor that sells you the Risky Ring. You can check down below, there is a video link there, so look for the timestamp if you want some visual aid where to find this one. Speaking of rings, we can find the Crusher ring at Act 1. There's a goblin in the goblin camp that's called Crusher. You can kill him and he will drop this specific ring. Gives you free movement, not bad, not good, but it's better than nothing. A really good alternative to this one is Killer Sweetheart. When you kill a creature, your next attack roll, which is a reaction, guarantees a critical strike. This can occur one time per long rest. You can guarantee this critical strike whenever you want. So you can kill a squirrel and then walk up to a boss after 20 fights and then you can still crit. However, I personally prefer this ring on different classes. So if you're using my Death Knight build, you're going to use this ring on the Paladin, which will guarantee a smite afterwards. The second ring we are going to use is Caustic Band. Caustic Band is sold by Dareth in the Mushroom Colony. The Mushroom Colony can be found in Act 1. It's located in the Underdark. If you missed this NPC and potentially didn't kill it, you can find the ring right here in Bonecloak's Apothecary. The NPC will be located right here if you missed it, so you can still buy this ring in Act 3. Now for the amulet, there is a ton of different options. Amulet of Misty Step is one. There is however a problem. Based on the recent patch, you are probably not going to be able to obtain this one because it's buggy sometimes. In the Defied Temple in Act 1, there is a room with a character that's called Guts. Behind him is a gilded chest. This chest contains the Amulet of Misty Step. However, because of the recent patch, this one can be missing, so you might not be able to obtain this amulet. Any amulet that's going to provide you with resistances or advantages to saving throws for wisdom, charisma or intelligence are valued highly on this class. So if you do not have the Misty Step amulet to provide you with a little bit more non-conditional movement, you're going to want to exchange this one. Next for the weapon. The best weapon in the game for this class is the Baldurian Giant Slayer. So here is the passageway to the prison. We can enter through here and then once you enter, turn left and there is two torches right here. One is here and one is here. You need to cast a lightning spell while they are burning. This will turn the torches blue and you will open this passage, which will lead down to a dungeon. Down there you will fight a very hard optional boss. This optional boss drops this specific Giant Slayer. Now what do you do if you do not have this specific Giant Slayer? The game is providing you with a ton of martial arts weapons. So basically anything that's going to increase your damage is going to be a good weapon. You can find really good weapons at Daemon in Act 2. Moonrise Tower has a Hellbard. There is a Bugbear that sells one. In the Defied Temple you can find a really strong staff. It is basically the same vendor that sells you the Near Missa in Act 2, just in Act 1. So make sure to enter the Defied Temple, then turn left. Talk to the NPC, buy the stuff you need and then never return. Start killing stuff on the right side of the Defied Temple. Once you kill one of the bigger dudes in there, the vendor will disappear and you can trade with him in other acts. So that's for weapons. The best cloak for this class is the Cloak of Displacement. It basically casts Blur for one hit on you at the beginning of your turn. You can find this cloak in the Dancing Axe shop right here in front of the Wormrock Fortress and after the Rivington town. It's located right here. Another good option is the Cloak of Elemental Absorption. When you raid the Moonrise Tower, go upstairs and loot everything. There should be a chest with this Elemental Absorption cloak. And for the headpiece, we are going with the Mask of Soul Perception. You can find this helmet in the Devil's Fee. You can go upstairs, break into the rooms, and on the top right corner there will be a gilded chest. This gilded chest contains the Mask of Soul Perception. Gives you a +2 to attack rolls, to initiative rolls and perception checks. And following the Murder Investigation questline will also yield you a +1 crit strike chance helmet. However, I heard some people are not getting this one despite killing the boss, so it might be bugged and currently also not dropping. Anyway, this sums up the build guide. If you liked this video, leave a like. If you have any questions or remarks, please comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. You can also join the channel membership or leave a donation if you have the spare coin. So, see you next time and bye.